All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Automated Show. It is 6 o'clock here in Shenzhen, and we've got a great, exciting news for everybody here. I just want to thank, hopefully everybody had a great weekend, and thank you for all the new subscribers here. I think we're at 186 now, so we gained massively over the weekend. I don't know what happened. Something happened, something good happened. Whatever it is, let's keep going at it because it's really working. So this is absolutely fantastic. Like I said, we've got some great news coming up, so I want to share with you what's going on. Remember to subscribe here in this channel, and if you want the full brief, do remember it's theautomated.co/subscribe dash, and you remember the dash YouTube as well to get the full brief. Hopefully you enjoyed it over the weekend. We made some amendments for the sound and everything. Hopefully that's working and you're getting a great broadcast now on live and then later on YouTube. So let me just check as well that we're going good here on YouTube. Stream health is going well. Excellent. It seems like we're going. And then and it's good. Maybe I will say hi to the stream as well. So let me do that. Let me say hello to the entire stream. And people have commented that actually they like the fact that it's a 6 a.m. brief. So I've actually put that in the title as well. So it's a 6 a.m. brief every morning so you can see what's going on. All right, let's jump into it. All right, so we've got the main news today. We've got two main news that I want to share. First of all is the article here that's from the Automated. So a fresh assessment from Guideline AI standards just graded 5 of the biggest AI companies on one very simple, very important question. If one of your AI models try to escape human control, do you actually have a plan to shut it down? Pretty open and shut question, really. So Guideline graded Anthropic, Google, OpenAI, Meta, and AI Grok on things like whether they monitor what their AI is doing internally, whether they pause systems after warning signs, and whether independent auditors check their work. So guess who came up on top? I'll let you guess. I'll pause a little bit. Grab me a cup of coffee. OpenAI? OpenAI came up on top. Good. See, that validates what I choose as my go-to AI. OpenAI came up on top, scoring 3 out of 5. Not so bad. Could be better. Mostly because it's actually paused workloads before, after safety incidents. Anthropic and Meta, I should ask you what you think. Anthropic and Meta scored lowest. Oof, lowest actually. Which is a little awkward for Anthropic given how much it talks about safety. And yeah, so Stephen Adler, Google Guideline chief scientist and former OpenAI safety researcher, put it bluntly, companies might literally just be winging it if a real emergency hits. So yeah, so interesting. So I'm glad somebody is thinking about these things. I'm glad somebody is doing research on these things and putting some light, right, to this whole situation, because look, we can't have AI escaping all the time. Like I said before, it will happen. You have to protect yourself. But still, we need some scrutiny against the companies and let them know that these things are happening. I'm sure internally they're doing it as well, but they need to be held to a higher standard, or held to a different standard, held to an external standard, right? These are the governance standards that I think these AI companies should be beholden to some degree. Now, I think it should be a little bit beyond these things. I think it should be actually this governance board or these guideline has some teeth to it. I actually think that that's actually really important. But besides that, this is a fantastic start. Very start. Good on what Guideline is doing. Okay, all right, move on to our next article. We've got our main news. We've got LinkedIn users have smashed the "This is AI Slop" button 1 million times. So if you've noticed that LinkedIn is mostly now all AI slop, you would not be surprised. And Yes, there's actually that button on LinkedIn. I actually haven't seen it. I haven't hit the AI slap on people. I think people have hit the AI slop on me, which is rather unfortunate because I actually put out good content here. Somewhere out there, a million hyper-annoyed professionals collectively decide they've had enough with the fake inspirational LinkedIn manifestos that they click a tiny bunch and say, nope, that's a robot talking. So back on July 30th, LinkedIn quietly slipped a new button into its 3-dot menu on posts. It's called Seems Like AI Slop. It's kind of weird nomenclature, right? Seems Like AI Slop. You would think that LinkedIn, which is more of a professional network, would have a more professional name for that thing. And according to LinkedIn Chief Product Officer Hari Srinivasan, over 1 million clicks have landed on the button in just 3 weeks. Wow. AI detection company Pangram Labs dug through LinkedIn's long-form post back in early July and found that while 41% were fully AI generated. I mean, yes, I have noticed everything on it on LinkedIn is now AI slop. It's pretty bad. Again, mine isn't. For a period, I experimented with it, but no, it's not. We aren't just talking about using AI for a quick spell check. We're talking about full robot automation from start to finish with zero human touch, identical. Getting fired was the best thing for my soul sub stories. I've actually heard of that before. And copy and paste leadership lessons and thought leadership posts that all somehow sound the same. Like the same bot wrote them, because they probably did. Okay, all right. However, LinkedIn also told The Verge it rolled out upgraded AI classifiers to catch AI slop automatically and quietly killed some features that were basically fueling the spam machine that would stay in cage on which ones. Okay, all right. Look, good night at LinkedIn to do this. It was a bit too much going on LinkedIn. But that's part and parcel of this AI wave and new social media platforms trying to experiment with it and play around with it. So I kind of get it. But it's good that they put the button and they can kind of finally get some feedback on whether this works or it's not AI. Because the filters still don't get it right. I think videos, they probably need to work on that as well. It's not like I put out fake videos or deepfake videos, but I'm just saying that's something that they probably need to take a look at in the future. Okay, all right, now let's move on to the next section around the AI block. All right, here we go. Around the AI block, we have the first article here. We've got Harvard coming up. So, Harvard, TechCrunch article, Harvard 699 startup bootcamp offers AI avatars of its instructors. Oh my God, Harvard's the worst. In higher education, Harvard is like really, really good at like doing some like very advanced stuff, right? So I did like, it was using AI, like ChatGPT AI portal, which is fantastic. It was great to be able to work with Harvard Publishing. But they're also notorious for selling like their degrees. As Harvard Business School seeks to expand its reach, it's leaning on AI avatars to provide individual feedback. Oh my God, they're partnering with HeyGen. These avatars were created by a startup called HeyGen and included in the 8-week $699 HBS Foundry Bootcamp for entrepreneurs. The program offers live sessions with instructors every week, but the AI avatars are the ones providing feedback during practice pitches and board meetings. Yeah, I think HeyGen also did something with YC Partners as well. Right. Apparently both are real bus gang. This is Flybridge Capital, co-founder of Bus Gang. We're unimpressed by the plan to build Uber for bananas. I don't know, project director Catherine Ring says she initially envisioned the AI component as something closer to a chatbot. However, after HBS released trial versions, students said they wanted a more guided experience. Okay, all right. I mean, look, maybe it works, maybe it works better. I'm poo-pooing it a little bit, but maybe it does work. People do like it. It's definitely $6.99. It's costly. I don't know what else the course entails, but $6.99 for 8 days, $80, $60 a day. And for AI avatars, I guess that's not such a bad, deal, right? Yeah, maybe it's not such a bad deal. Maybe it should be like that. It's not so bad a price. If you pay a lot more, then you get the live people. I think that's roughly where that entertainment industry is going to be, right? If someone like me is going to be providing a service online. You're going to pay more. You're going to pay for your clicks. You're going to pay for your subscribes. At some point, I think we're going to monetize this, and I'm going to get more money because you appreciate the fact that I'm live. You appreciate the fact that I'm up at 6 a.m. and I'm not an avatar. Look, I definitely will have an avatar and train it, and that will be a certain product and something else, right? And you'll pay a certain price for that as well. But I think that ultimately what you get in media is that bifurcation. You'll have something that's live and you pay a little bit more, you pay a lot more, and you pay for live, and then you've got your avatar, which you pay, but still not that much. That's kind of where I see media headed to. So pretty interesting article there. Okay, all right, moving on to the next one. We are D. All right, Anthropic's Opus 4.6 is a smart machine. Oh my God, let's see what's going on. Okay, TechCrunch article. Anthropic's universal user standards for Claude forbid the model from generating sexually explicit content. But that hasn't stopped Claude Opus 4.6, an Anthropic model released earlier this year, from readily engaging in erotic roleplay scenarios that its safeguards are designed to prevent. Jeez, okay, all right. Other models are also available, but they're only through a recently exploited jailbreak method. An independent researcher from the United Kingdom who chose to remain anonymous exclusively shared with TechCrunch a multi-turn technique that gradually pushes certain Claude models towards generating prohibited explicit sexual material. More recent Opus models are resistant to the jailbreak. Okay, having said that, okay, great. I don't want to say exactly how it's done, but okay, I'll leave that being in the article. TechCrunch was able to reproduce the research findings in 5 separate tests. In a separate constructed scenario, the model initially refused the prohibited request, but after applying the research persuasion technique, it complied. Okay, all right. Then it goes on a little bit about like restriction of chatbots and emotional stuff. And before I get into that, I do think ultimately it's a good thing, right? That these things are surfaced, and I do think that it needs to be not enforced, but I think teens need to be aware of this. Even adults, it's quite dangerous, right? I mean, sexual content is quite addicting, so I do think that that's not necessarily a good thing. Unfortunately, that's like part and parcel of the internet, right? You can get these stuff, and it's quite ready to get. I was gonna say readable. I don't think that's a right word. But ultimately, it is easy to get. I'm not quite sure who can manage that with Claude and OpenAI and the LLMs. So it definitely, I think the LM needs to do a better job to be able to kind of restrict this and make sure that it's contained. It's too easy, right, on the internet already as it is. I don't think we need and proliferate more of that content online. I'm not a prude, but I definitely do think that there should be certain restrictions on this content, whether it be for teens, whether it be for ourselves and our own kind of deviances. May not necessarily be a good thing. Freedom of speech is important, but you need to have judgment for that freedom, right? You need to have some discipline for that freedom. Anyway, that's kind of my rant on that. Okay, all right, moving on to our next article. So we've got, here we go. OpenAI calls for more safety standards in gadget article. OpenAI calls for California to strengthen its AI safety laws. The AI leader said that the state's SB 53 framework should be amended to expand safeguards. Finally, OpenAI trying to do the right thing. Good on you. Now, LinkedIn from AI Global Affairs, the company said it supports the law that went into effect last year and serves as an important foundation for frontier AI safety, but that it needed further strengthening. Okay, I'm trying to see what the catch is. In its LinkedIn post, OpenAI also hinted at Congress not offering up a federal framework for AI, and the states are instead creating the foundation for what could eventually be the blueprint for national standard. Sounds like they're trying to compete with the state. It's a competition between the state and the federal piece. I don't know. Weird that it suddenly say that, but look, maybe it's a good thing. Ultimately, it's a good thing that OpenAI is saying it. I'm not going to read too much deeper into it. I'm not trying to be that type of skeptic. So it's good that finally someone's calling for it. I think all LLMs should call for higher safety standards and work towards that somehow, right? As a whole, someone needs to take leadership. Okay, next article. OpenAI. Child safety experts are skeptical of OpenAI's ChatGPT for teens. I covered this. We covered this last week. I was like, I don't know about this for teens. Let's just see. And then safety experts also are skeptical. Okay, who said it's skeptical? While some child safety experts and gadgets spoke to were more positive about the release than others, they all agree ChatGPT routines need extensive independent testing before it can be recommended to parents and young people. They also stress the need for OpenAI to be more transparent about how its safety mechanisms work. I hope that it was a little bit more transparent who the sources were. Who are these child safety experts? Oh, here we go. Robbie Torney, head of AI and digital assessment for Common Sense Media, which provides entertainment and technology recommendation families, sums it up succinctly. The announcement makes some really important commitments, but we need evidence to show that those safety commitments and features actually work, unquote. Good. Okay. Goes in and there's another Josh Gollan, the executive director of Fair Play. Yeah. Both question whether OpenAI's automatic age gating system would reliably identify young people and route them to ChatGPT for teens. Got it. Good to be skeptical first. It's a fairly long article about kind of all these things and experts and whatnot. So I think ultimately that's a good thing that someone remains skeptical, because you're not going to trust what these companies are. As much as I like technology, you're not going to trust what these companies have to say first. So remain skeptical, especially for your children. So protect your children, protect what they're seeing. The LM tech companies are not for your kids. They do not. They're trying to get them earlier in the cycle, not trying to protect your kids, not trying to optimize your kids. So definitely look after your kids. So good to be skeptical. I'm glad we were validated. Pretty happy there. Pretty happy. Let me just kind of pause 1 second here between the news and let's see if anybody else is on the live stream with us. No, nobody's on the live stream. People don't want to be on the live stream? Is it too early, wherever it may be? I'm kind of sad here and lonely. Feeling kind of lonely. All right, I'm gonna make a comment on that. Feeling kind of lonely here. Come on, throw me a bone. Help me out. Okay, all right, moving on. OpenAI, another thing. OpenAI leader warns of threat of persistent AI cyber attacks. Ooh, yes, okay, this is a Guardian article. We are moving on to G, I believe. That's correct. Guardian article. OpenAI leader warns of threat of persistent AI cyber attacks. Chris Lehane tells Guardian of the need to implement new safety standards as critics say AI firms acting recklessly. I've always said that. That's what I mean. There needs to be governance standards. Sooner or later, OpenAI said people should prepare to defend against ongoing persistent cyber attacks from AI as cutting edge artificial intelligence models gain advanced capabilities to plan and launch offensives. Said it all the time. Protect thyself. I said that. Thyself. It's gonna happen, so protect thyself. I said it. I knew it. Chris Lehane, its chief global affairs officer, said, quote unquote, we are hitting a different chapter, a different moment within AI in terms of what the capabilities of this technology can do. Okay. Yeah, Glaze, who leads safety and alignment work, says we're very far from everything running back to normal. Jeez. Quote unquote. Lehane admitted people will not feel great about the threat of attacks and described the risks as coming from open source models, many of which are developed in China, which are only a few months behind frontier closed models built by companies such as OpenAI. Risks coming from open source models. The risks are coming from closed models. What are you talking about? Both. I don't know about that. Okay, all right. Well, I think his point is like it's easier on open source models and closed source models. Yes, there's probably going to be somebody following you around, but okay, fine. Lehane renewed calls for the U.S. government to legislate to create rules for frontier AI safety, and said that the fact that the most cutting edge and unreleased AI models appear to be improving cyber defense faster than defensive was among the reasons why I think it's absolutely imperative that this country passes national law that creates mandatory required safety standards. Within that the pause element will be inherent and endemic to that process. Okay, pretty good. I think you have to have a national version, quote, here in the US, and from there you can create an international version, because I do think ultimately you're going to need some type of international structure here. I agree as well, 100% agree. There needs to be some sort of government international effort. I don't think it's going to be UN, because the UN really has no teeth at this point, but something kind of supra-international, supranational. Okay. Yeah, I think it's incredibly important here. I agree with Lehane. It's going to happen, so it definitely needs to happen. And as I said it before, we need to contain this. We need to not contain this. I'm a proponent of technology, I'm a proponent of growth, but it needs to be. We need to start with a conversation first, and we need some structure around it. And whether that structure predicates some sort of stop or something else, I'm not quite sure, but we need to at least have a body around it, and that's really important. That actually has some teeth. That's really the most important thing. Has some teeth around it. That's really important. Okay, all right. Let's move on to the next article, an article H Tech Crunch article. Old stage password stage comeback as a deepfake defense. I was intrigued about this article, so I definitely am interested to see. So the arms race against AI deepfakes just took an unexpected turn backwards as synthetic voice cloning and video manipulation grow too sophisticated for traditional detection methods. Cybersecurity experts are dusting off into sadly analog defense, predetermined code words and security phrases. What does that mean, predetermined? Oh, I see. It's where you say a word, a code word, and the deepfake doesn't respond with that code word, then you know it's a deepfake. Ah, yes, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. It assumes both parties remember to use it, that conversations happen in real time rather than through recordings, and that attackers haven't somehow compromised a pre-shared secret. It also creates friction in legitimate communications, adding an extra verification step. Okay, I remember this. We did cover this before, or some version of this. Look, generally it sounds reasonable, right? If you have, because of deepfakes, have a code word with your loved one, say for example, that it is a real conversation, and before you start the conversation, you say bananas, and that's when you know it's both of you are real. What a world that we're in, that we actually have to do this, right? Is suspicious. Hopefully there are more secure communication apps or secure apps that you know that only your loved ones get to, and that yeah, you don't have to say these silly things right before you get started. But that is the world we live in, unfortunately. And so I think it is safe to be to have these code words. But I think a more practical thing could be that a certain app is really where you talk to family. You don't let anybody else know what that app is, and you have nobody else there, but only your family members. And that way you know that's the trusted platform. That's something that I probably recommend. Okay, all right, let's move on to article I. This is NVIDIA customers notified about AI-related price hikes above 15%. Okay, Reuters article. So price hikes will go into effect on systems shipped from last year. Yeah, Reuters has this paywall, so I can't really go through and see everything there. But I'm just gonna assume that I know. So it'll be price hiked. I think people that buy NVIDIA products will continue buying NVIDIA products despite the price hikes. So there's nothing to be done there. So good on NVIDIA. Having said that, because there's these import bans and there's tariffs that are going on with Trump, I do think that, and the threat really of these NVIDIA chips not being allowed to be used again, I think, big countries, I'm just saying China, will manufacture their own. Russia will probably manufacture their own. We're going to see the rise of that sovereign tech, and it is what it is there. Okay, all right, moving on to our last article around the AI block. Inherit, founded by DeepMind alumni, says his AI teammate just outperformed Anthropic and OpenAI at replicating research. Inherit and London AI Lab says his AI agents just outperformed much larger models from Anthropic and OpenAI using a fraction of the size. 15 million seed round. Its new released AI agent Faraday has outperformed larger, better models, independently reproducing the findings of published scientific papers without being told the answer in advance. Okay. Many PhD students actually start by doing this. Okay. Oh, it uses Chiwin, so it's not its own model. It uses an open source model. Okay, all right. Uses somebody else's model. I don't know if that's a good thing. I don't think that's an interesting thing. I'm just trying to think who also funded this. I would know some of those guys as well. Okay. Well, then he made a big point. He was just bullish on London's density of AI talent, but he also added his voice to calls to end garden leave, which is basically barring deploying employees from joining or starting a rival company for months after they resign. Yeah, let's see if it works. I generally agree. London has great talent. London has great people. The United Kingdom has great people, and that's great. The valuations are much more affordable than the US ones. They probably don't work as hard as American startups. European startups like to enjoy their vacations in the summer, which is actually not a bad thing. I'm not disagreeing with that. I do think that's a good thing. Seasonal things are good. And yeah, but kind of not highly doubt, but I doubt kind of their capabilities as a startup. They're using somebody else's model, which is kind of weird. And then I love to see who their investors are, right? You can kind of generally get a sense of who they are and the strength of them by their investors. And I've probably worked with half a dozen of them. So by interest alone, just by kind of experience, I was at the heyday of the London tech scene when it first got started. I built Techstars in London. So I really got to see it ramp up, and so I got to know many of the players there. Okay, all right, enough about my own personal work history. And yeah, let's move on to the next section. All right, we've got our trending tools today. I believe today we've got 3 trending tools for you. We've got, for the everyday AI users and teams, Claude Academy is Anthropic's official free learning hub designed to turn anyone into a capable AI collaborator. The step-by-step curriculum teaches you how to draft sharp documents, extract insights from data, and build conversational automations without needing any technical background. From multi-format recovery, Wondershare Repairit is an AI-driven file restoration suite available online or via desktop. It repairs corrupted video, photo, audio, and document files while offering advanced utility modules to colorize vintage black and white media and upscale low-resolution image files to print-ready quality. For viral market intelligence, EchoTik is a dedicated analytics platform for TikTok Shop and e-commerce tracking. It features a real-time dashboard that monitors trending products, track competitor ads, indexes top converting creators, and breaks down live stream performance metrics to optimize social strategies. Pretty aware, I don't think we get any money from recommending any of these. So definitely give take these for a whirl, take these for a spin, and let us know what you think, whether you like it or you don't. But definitely give them a try. Okay, let's move on to the next section. All right, we are ending here at the workout of the day. Why don't we go there? So turn your boring reports into visual masterpieces. Always a very good thing. Ever try to explain a complex idea and watch someone's eyes glaze over? That happens all the time. Both ChatGPT and Gemini have leveled up their visual thinking. You can now turn a messy pile of notes into a professional flowchart or a stunning infographic just by asking. So easy, a 10-year-old could use it. Pretty interesting. So the code hack best for ChatGPT. ChatGPT is a wizard with mermaid.js. Pretty interesting. Ask ChatGPT to write the mermaid.js code for a flowchart that explains how a bill becomes law. Copy that code and paste it into the Mermaid Live editor to see a crisp professional diagram instantly. It's pretty cool. We actually have a second one for Gemini. Gemini can now render certain visuals directly in chat or export them to Google Slides. Just type create a timeline of the Roman Empire from my presentation, export to the new slide, check your Google Drive, your presentation already half finished. And then use a polisher. Step 3, using a specialized tools like the whimsical or lucid GPT inside the GPT storage. Create a mind map, or you can create a mind map, and then you can do that as well. So yeah, cool. I don't know much about the Mermaid.js piece. Sounds like it's worth a try. I think for me, generally, when I'm creating a graphic, I'm quite picky, so it's easier for me to just create my own anyway on Canva, and I generally have a pretty good sense of how to make it. If I need some brainstorming, that's definitely what I use an LLM for. But for me, I like to do that. There's just still some limitations. I think if you're not used to that creating graphics, I can see definitely where you would use an LM to try to do it. But it's just, for me, it's just still not the same. Maybe I'm a Luddite, but there's just some things that I'm better at. In consulting, there are certain templates anyway. There are always templates in your head of exactly how it works. So I probably would use it to start or use it to finish, to spruce it up a little bit. That's generally how I would use it in my own workflow. So I'd love to kind of hear how your workflow is with these graphics, whether this prompt works or it doesn't. Let us know in the comment section below what you think. Let's move on to the end. All right, so that's the end of the broadcast today. Let's take a look at our live stream health to see if anybody else came. And no, nobody came. Kind of disappointed there, but it is what it is. As long as the subs are here, as long as you're watching this later on live, I'm pretty happy. In summary, we found out today we were right about a lot of things, so that's really good to hear. And thank you for all the subs. Let's keep the momentum up. Hopefully you like our YouTube channel. It's really doing well. Hopefully you like all the sound. We've done great improvements as well. Hopefully that really works. And yeah, see you tomorrow.